When we lived on 25th in Lacey, we lived in really almost an old growth forest. The trees were huge, cedar trees. We had one, as a matter of fact, that was so close to the house that we had to take it down because it was, as it grew, it was pushing on the roof, and we had to cut the rain gutter so that there's room for the tree. The trees were huge.
I remember that, and I remember watching the guy fell it and being amazed at how
amazing.
precise
it was. Touching
it was.
the house and it fell that way. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, home to those trees were home to a lot of wildlife, including squirrels. And we became aware of 3 of these squirrels. They ran around sort of like pals or a gang or whatever you want to call them. And they even had names. One name was, the other's name was, and the other's name was. Well, anyway, one day, late in the autumn, and we're out running around the backyard, and they realized that the weather was changing. So turned it and said, you know what? And winter's coming, and we don't have any food stored up. So turned to and said, hey guys, I got an idea. Why don't we start saving peanuts that people leave out for us? There's a hole in this tree and we'll just stuff it full of peanuts. So turned to and said, you know what? And you're right, let's get at it. So early the next morning, and we're out just scampering all over the neighborhood. Scampering from, would go one way and would go the other and would go yet another way, when they would come back with their cheeks just bulging with all kinds of bounteous foods, and they would stuff them in that tree.
Including chewing a hole in the screen, climbing up inside, helping themselves to the peanut bowl, and just leaving.
That was on the table, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember if it was, or I think it was, anyway,
Maybe.
I was laying on the couch and came through the hole in the screen and walked up to me and said, hey buddy, give me all your peanuts. Anyway, so, and we're out just gathering all this food. Suddenly came down with a little bit of something, and this was before COVID. So, was getting sick. So, turned to and said, you know what, I think is feeling a little under the weather. Maybe we ought to take to the squirrel doctor. So, and gathered up all their courage and their strength, and they ran over to the squirrel doctor. Well, the squirrel doctor worked on for a little bit. He came out in the waiting room, and he said, I hate to tell you this, but your buddy is going to die. And sure enough, died. Well, all this took time, so, and figured out they were behind, so they're just working extra hard, and went that way and took route 2 and went that way. And you can imagine having all that extra work to do, pretty soon got sick. So said, oh, I've been through this before. So he took over to the same squirrel doctor and said, Doc, you need to look at. The doc took into the examination room, came back out all long-faced and sad and said, you know, I hate to tell you this, is going to die. I'm sorry, is going to die. Gets complicated. So thought long for a minute, and with a sad, sorrowful, hurting countenance, looked to the doctor and said, Doc, you can't let die. I already have one in my grave.